So we are here for round two, and this is not going to be a weekly occurrence. We kind of, had a little intermission with the holidays, but we're here in round two for the highlight reviews. So super excited about it. We're going to be getting into a couple different highlight tapes that we got here today. So yeah, we got five of them. We're going to get through them. We're gonna really grind them out, and then we're gonna go from there. So super excited to dive into things. Let's get it rolling. So first off, if you do want your highlight to be up for review, there should be a link somewhere. I don't know where you're watching this. If on X, I don't know if I have a link on there, but there is a link on the YouTube. It's just in the description. I also usually send it out on my Instagram. I usually try to post it on X. I didn't this time. I usually always send it to my email list. So if you're not signed up for the email list, you can. We have 8,000 people on there, which is pretty cool. They get weekly tips from me in terms of how to get recruited to play college football. And you can sign up for that at yourfirstscholarship.com/playbook, where you can sign up for our scholarship playbook. It's absolutely free. Walks you through the 7 stages of the recruiting process. And then on top of that, you get added to my email list for a little extra bonus if you want to get emailed by me. But with that being said, let's dive into it. So this first one, we got a quarterback because I love quarterbacks because I was also a quarterback. And we got Eric Lee over in Florida. So we're gonna check out his film, see what's going on. So first off, like I always talk about, and I'll continue to talk about this, is just title screens. I don't really like them that much, just because junior season highlights, cool. That's relatively obvious. If a coach is coming across this, they should know your grad year. 6'2", 215, 3.0 GPA. Again, if a coach is checking your highlights, they probably already know, hey, your height, your weight, and your GPA. So it's just kind of 5 seconds. Every second matters in a highlight tape. It really does. Coach is only going to watch so many plays. And so you want to maximize that time frame for him watching plays to evaluate, not seeing information that he already knows. So would just recommend removing that, but again, that's just me. So first tape, really nice throw. Probably you're probably throwing it from 30 yards out. Really nice. Looks like strong arm, obviously. Got a little bit of scrambling on the second one. I don't know why your guy did a tight angle there. That is horrendous for you. But, nice throw. Good play there. And I will say, I really like the fact that your clips so far are very short and to the point, which is what we're shooting for. We want it to be very tight when it comes to that. And so, your guy catches it. It's a clear catch. Boom, on to the next one. Love it. Nice little fade ball. Nice. Good stuff. A little bit out of frame, but it is what it is. Nice little dig route. Nice. Handling with some pressure. I think that I think so far, placement all looks good. Obviously throw it a little bit behind him, but you're getting decked. So like to see that you stand in there. Throwing across the field. Love it. Good play there. Nice little corner ball. Guessing your guy dropped that one, but good throw. Yeah, this is just, in terms of tempo, is the best I've seen in a while in terms of things just the fact that your plays are so bang bang. Love it. It just allows us to get a lot of plays in a short amount of time, which is what we're shooting for. Nice ball right over the top of that flat defender there. Love it. Yeah, this is really good stuff in terms of variety of throws, showing you handling and pressure, showing you move around a little bit in terms of pocket movements. Hurdling the defender here. Yeah, that's nice, man. This is awesome. This is awesome stuff. Love it. Nice little deep ball. Can't really see that one. This is a tough one because it's can't really see it, but don't know if it's completion, don't know what the case might be. So this is a tough one. I don't know if I necessarily put that in your highlights, or if I do, it's just very much back. Nice play, improvising. Yeah, this This is all really good stuff, man. All really, really good stuff. Some arm angles. Nice lingering over that guy. These are some really, really good throws. 100%. Love it. So I think overall, I mean, you got a 6-minute tape here. We won't take the time. We'll continue watching as I talk about just kind of my standpoint on you. So like, from an evaluation perspective, from a high tape perspective, I think you did a great job. Honestly, like I honestly wouldn't change much in terms of things besides that one little post they can't see, which is a tough one. It's a tough call. I think the biggest thing is like you got a ton of good throws in here. So it's like break this up into chunks, like not within the highlight itself. Keep this highlight same, but go make other highlights. Go make an arm angles highlight tape. Go make a deep ball tape. Go make more running play tape. Go make an improvisation tape. Those would be great things to create because you got so many good plays, which is a great problem to have. Now let's make it in a better way for a coach to go across them and pick which one they want to see from you. Because I think like for me, we're 3 minutes in now. Most coaches aren't going to get to this point. I think watching your first minute, you check a lot of the boxes when it comes to arm strength and making the throws. My only question after that first minute, and especially like that second play, you kind of move around, you don't look super mobile, is like, can this guy run? And so if you had a separate tape where it's like, here's my run plays, here's that, your first 5 plays are the hurdle, another run play on top of that, whatever the case might be, that immediately answered that question of like, okay, this guy can extend and make plays with his feet as well. And that answers that question as well. So that is a big thing there that I think would be extremely helpful for you. So making sure to break that up into different chunks of questions that my coaches might have to answer that, it would crush. But in terms of evaluation, man, like you're checking a lot of the boxes. I think that, again, the biggest thing to me would be mobility, but like, I mean, you definitely, like, I think your bottom end should be D2. I think that FCS is a possibility if you can fight the right program. I just think, again, like, depending on the program, but I mean, arm strength looks to be there, arm accuracy looks to be there. Obviously you're a lefty, which to some coaches is a drawback, unfortunately, so that could obviously limit some recruiting options there as well. But I think the biggest thing is going to be how you interact with the coaches, how they grade you as far as, football IQ and your things there. But if you can prove the things there, I think that D2 again would be like, hey, this guy's that's like worst case to me. Maybe Kaiser over there, is a great NA program. I think that would be worst case as well. But overall, I mean, I think like definitely arm talent wise, definitely at the D1 level. But again, the tape I think looks really good. I like the way you put it together. I mean, just for having a 6-minute tape, this is good stuff. And again, just breaking it up into little chunks would help out a ton here. So overall, really good stuff. Appreciate you submitting your tape there, and really like it. So let's roll on to this next one as I'll just check to make sure that everything else is going smoothly here. Let me make sure. Just showing weird up in my software. Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks like everything's going good. All right, let's keep it rolling. It was looking really weird in my software, but we're good to go. All right, let's keep it going. So next we got Rosondo Holdridge over in Pennsylvania, strong safety and receiver. Cool. Yeah, solid play there. Nice. Yeah, really good stuff. Nice pass breakup there. Another solid pass breakup. Looks good there as well. Everything's solid. I mean, I don't think there's anything I'd really adjust at this moment. That play, like, I don't think this play is necessarily a highlight. Let me just make sure I'm spawning the right guy. I mean, should have block. I mean, you're getting in on the tackle there late, but I wouldn't necessarily call that one a highlight. Solid play there. Nothing too crazy. Again, don't know if I necessarily call that a highlight, but yeah, I mean, not a bad play. Solid PBU there. Just want to shorten this clip, obviously. Extends for a little too long. Probably wouldn't have this play. I mean, it's man coverage, obviously, and I mean, you do a good job of guarding him, but just wouldn't have it in a highlight tape necessarily. If you wanted to make it go and make a man coverage tape, different thing there. Cool. Yeah, nice little special teams playing there. Got it. So this is you. I mean, making an offensive play here. I mean, I would say probably put that one earlier. Definitely you making a touchdown. I mean, that's definitely a highlight. Same with that play. I would move those ahead of some of the other defensive highlights. And then just, I would probably insert those in a separate offensive highlight. It doesn't seem like you have a lot, but would still be worth breaking that up because it's in the back half here and just most coaches aren't going to get to this point. So want to make sure you have it at least up front more for sure. But overall, not a bad tape. I just think just some of those adjustments there, but all looks solid. I think that you look like pretty size wise looks pretty good. I don't know your height and weight, so we'll pull it up here in Huddle. 6'2", 200. I mean, got good size. I mean, I think the biggest thing, just with safeties can be one of the harder positions to get recruited because there's really not a lot of spots out there, and your film is so dependent based on opportunities. And so, to be fair, I wouldn't be shocked if someone told me, hey, this guy's a G5 safety or something like that, or FCS safety. But again, it's like your talent level is there. It's really, at least from what I'm perceiving, I would have to look at the game tape and see, what are the mistakes you make. But from a highlight perspective, in a way you move, looks all relatively solid. I think that it's just going to come down to probably getting camp evaluations is going to be a big one as a safety, just depending on how coaches evaluate the way that you move and the way that you play there as well. So overall, I mean, good stuff. I think that, in terms of talent level, what I'm seeing off the highlight, really the sky's the limit. And you play in a competitive, conference. Obviously, you're playing the Petty school and whatnot. So, those are good schools over there. So it's just really going to come down to, what the coaches think at the end of the day. So, but overall, good stuff. Appreciate you submitting it. And we're on to the next one. So we've got Gary Britt. This is let's see, I think he's a senior. So I think we're gonna have an intro. So I know you made this with Clipchamp. I haven't heard of it before, but the red is very harsh on the eyes. I would, if you're gonna have an info slide, have something a little bit better. Red and black is just a lot. So just in terms of graphically, a couple things, this is a lot of information. Again, I'm not a big fan of title slides because they probably know all this information, and you don't really need all of it. Like, you don't need that you play the other sports. You don't need your NCAA ID in here. You don't need that you play offense and defense because it's clear with your positions. All those kinds of things that are things I would clean up at least on the title slide, but it's not a very great way to put information like stacked on top of each other like this. It's not very sorted. Like, you got stuff on multiple lines. Like, you want one line for each piece of information. And then just again with the background of the text, it's just it just doesn't come together very well. Let me just mute this real quick. And you run through some stats again. The white with the red and the pictures, just like you can even see the text very clearly as well. And again, like, these stats aren't. I mean, 8 sacks, 4 INTs. I mean, 4 INTs is pretty impressive. And I mean, these are pretty good stats. But again, you can just front load this information because a coach isn't randomly coming across your YouTube video. So they're going to come across it via email or DMs or some other way. Cool. Sack first play, pretty big hit. Nice TFL. I would say right now, like, obviously you look athletic, you look fast. That's probably your best play so far because really, like, these other sacks and TFLs are just like you come in free off the edge. Like, I would hope that you get the sack or the TFL. You want to show like a little better play than you just coming free. So like this one, at least this guy kind of washes you a little bit. You still make the play, still be able to get the sack. Yeah, that one's pretty good. Like, you evade the running back that's trying to block you. Good stuff there. Sack force fumble. Like, I think a sack force fumble to me would be better than some of the earlier sacks in TFLs that you showed as well. This is a really good TFL. Coming all the way from there. Again, this would be another one that you want to move up. Nice sack. I mean, again, like, you're coming off pretty free. The guy fumbles the ball. Fine to put in your highlight tape. I just would put it, more in the back half. Another good TFL coming from the behind. Well, not necessarily TFL, but, coming from the behind like that. Good play. Nice. Nice as well. There we go. I would probably put this interception up as well. I think this is a better play than some of the other ones. Yeah, probably all 3 of those interceptions, to be fair, probably move up quite a bit. Nice. This is good. I mean, that's a good play. Shed block like that. I would move that up as well. Like, I think that's better than some of those sacks that are just you free off the edge. Same with this play. Like, again, you're coming from that backside, making that kind of play. Like, you're extremely fast, and you want to show that. Nice. Good stuff. Probably would move that one up over some of those plays I mentioned earlier as well. Nice. So, I mean, overall, like, you got good plays on there. I just think that you want to think about, like, okay, like, what kind of plays that am I making on tape that no one else can make? It's really what it comes down to, is like the kind of plays that you're making, it needs to be a play that a coach goes, wow. And, getting a sack off the edge when there's nobody blocking you, yeah, that's, it's not going to make anybody say wow unless you, like, take the guy's head off. But, a play where you're coming from the backside, trailing the guy, and able to get a TFL, like, that is a wow play. So make sure you're prioritizing those. The biggest thing I think is like you're too light and you look pretty small on film. So getting that weight up is going to be the biggest thing. If you are actually 6'1", like you at least are good enough in terms of height to play linebacker. DB might be the better fit, but obviously you're gonna have to, for a linebacker, you're gonna need to put on at least another 30 pounds. I mean, ideally a number 40 to 50. I would say 40 to probably 45. I would say because you probably want to shoot for 225 at least. So that's a big thing there. I know you play receiver as well. Imagine you're pretty dominant there. So that may be the better position. But in terms of skill set, I mean, you've got the stuff. I think that, you run a 4.440. Jesus. I honestly, I couldn't believe it. So, again, I'm sure your high school is using you, just varying on what they need. So that's obviously one thing. But, I think ideally you probably want to play DB with that kind of speed, obviously. And if you can bulk maybe and maintain that speed, that would be key as well. But you have a lot of options there. It's just unfortunate that, you're 2026, obviously. So most likely the school's going to pick you up to be a DB. I think that I didn't see enough of coverage ability to make an accurate evaluation there. I think that's going to be a tough thing. I think somebody would take a chance on you based on your speed. It's going to be a lower level school. Like, I don't even know if a D2 necessarily would take that chance. I think you're going to look at more D3 and A, or JUCO route would obviously be a great option of like getting into a system where they're going to place you in the right position as well. So I think the raw stuff is there. It's just like getting put in your actual position, not as a outside linebacker necessarily. But good film. Appreciate you submitting that as well. So let's go into the next one. Got some more senior tape. Dive into it. It's got some receiver stuff. Nice move. Nice catch. Very nice catch. Nice. So establishing the jump ball for sure. Good stuff there as well. Yeah, good stuff. Showing a little bit more speed here. Yeah, there we go. Love it. Nice, good play there. Good stuff. All looks good so far. Really wouldn't make any adjustments. I mean, I would say if you have like a dominant blocking play, I would maybe move that up to around this point, but so far so good. Nice. Making a lot of good contested catches. I think that all looks great so far. I think we just want to see you on some more cutting routes at this point. I know you showed a slant, but outside of that, really haven't seen much in terms of like curl, comeback, dig. It's pretty established at this point. You can make contested catches. It's like, okay, cool. How does this guy cut? How does this guy move? Because all we've seen is deep balls and a flat and again one slant. Yeah, again, contested catches, awesome stuff. Just want to see some more variety in terms of routes. Another slant. I mean, you gotta get you on some cutting route. I mean, you did have the first route. You did have a little slant and go that they kind of put you on. But again, I would want to see like a harder cut. Nice. I mean, making a ton of great catches, no doubt. Getting good separation to the line. Go to the slant and go again. Got it. Very nice. At least some variety in terms of the route with the dig there. But again, just like if you have it, of course, like some kind of hard cut, curl, come back. I think come back would be the most ideal, just to see how you handle that situation. Nice back shoulder. Yeah, just very dominant in terms of separation, in terms of catching, and some defensive plays as well. Nice view there. But the tape, in terms of like tempo, in terms of like general things, all looks good. I think that just the variety of the routes is the one thing that you're missing. Yeah, good catch there. Yeah, a little bit of a hard cut there. That's a bad decision. I think overall, like, again, separation, good catching. I think that the one thing is like speed doesn't seem to be elite. So, really looking at more of like a probably D2 ceiling kind of guy. I don't know what your height and weight is, but just the speed and agility aren't elite to the point of where like, hey, this guy is a D1 guy at the end of the day. But definitely very good. Just again, not that elite level. You're the kind of guy that goes to an NAA program and dominates. Like, I can see that for sure. You remind me a lot of the receivers that I played with at Morningside. That they were guys that probably ran a 4.7, 4.8, 40, but they could catch, they could create separation, they ran really clean routes, but they just weren't fast enough for the Division I level probably. Not that they couldn't play there, but they're looking, at the Division I level, you're looking for a guy that's, if he's a 4.6 guy, he's got to be, extremely tall and dominant at every other factor of the sport. But really, you're looking at 4.5 or lower. So, those are things obviously that are a factor. But I think overall, the tape looks good. Appreciate you submitting that in. We'll keep rocking to this last one that we got tonight. So we got Tavion Smith over in Mississippi. Athlete, plays a couple different positions, believe even tight end, and we just got a loading error. Well, that's fun. Let's refresh this. Nice, good block. So again, just common thing that comes up. You don't want to circle in the middle of the play. It just messes up with the rhythm of the play, makes it harder for you to be evaluated. So want to make sure you have it during that time frame, right before the snap. Way to hang on to that catch. Nice. So it looks like, you obviously play like this, you play some tight end, you play a couple different positions. Really what your highlight tape should be is, some blocking plays like you're showing here. And it should be stuff that you're very aggressive off the ball. That one's good. You're getting to the second level. I don't know if you're necessarily making the correct decision to do so there, but, a little bit too much time here at the end. But obviously, like blocking plays, showing some of the catching ability like you have, all those kinds of things are stuff that you want to include in this. I think that tight end is always an interesting position because again, you have to do so much. Like the blocking is a big piece of it, and the pass catching and athletic ability is a big piece of it. So there's a lot to show, obviously. Not necessarily like, that's not necessarily a highlight block. Like you want to show stuff where you're engaged with a guy, driving, physically dominating him at the end of the day. I just don't know if that play shows that. I want to tighten this up, obviously, a little too long in terms of length of this play. I'm just trying to figure out. Yeah, I think you're showing some pass blocking. You just don't really honestly look like you're playing like super soft with that guy, and so it's not really a highlight type play. Again, just way too much length here in the beginning. I imagine you guys aren't going to snap this ball for another 5 seconds at least. So want to shorten that up. A little better at blocking play there, but. So I would say like my recommendation so far is just trimming this highlight down. Most guys are just not going to have a highlight tape that is going to be 4, 5, 6 minutes long. I think we really only saw one highlight tape that was worthy and was 6 minute long, and it was the quarterback that we had on earlier, and he had good throws throughout the entire tape, and so. And to be fair, I think also, Alexander's over here was also good as well. I think both of those, those were highlights throughout the entire time. Maybe you could trim a couple plays, but they need to be, top plays. Stuff that makes people say, wow, it's much better to have a 2-minute highlight tape that's filled with 10 out of 10 plays than a 6-minute highlight tape that's, has 10 out of 10, but then also has like a 4 out of 10 play. So want to make sure that you're really including that best of the best stuff, so that way a coach can look at it and go, okay, this is his highlights. I've seen the best stuff. Now I need to see the worst stuff, instead of like, oh, this is his best stuff. Like if his best is like that, then I don't know if we can really recruit him. So just some thoughts for that. I know you're a senior here. I think that, just in terms of, I don't know what your size is, but look a little bit undersized for a lower level kind of guy, just because of that. And I think that you're 5'11", 186, just not really tight end. You're probably more of a receiver build, and you just don't really have like elite pass catching tape. I think it's gonna be probably hard to find a spot outside of maybe you could find a spot on a D3. I think JUCO is probably gonna be your best bet to try and get on a team there to get some more film, hopefully in a better position and develop a little bit more. But yeah, that height and weight, you're not going to find a lot of spots for tight end necessarily. So, but if you can find somewhere, whether even if prep school, or if you can find a good prep school or JUCO, would be good options to continue down that route. But again, appreciate you submitting your tape. I think there'll be a couple of good suggestions for you. So, well, with that being said, I appreciate all you guys that came on. Little short one today. Just with the couple highlights tapes that we had, but we'll continue rocking with this. Again, either you can submit your highlight tape through the description for the next time, or you can join the email list. You get notified usually a couple days before the day of as well to submit some as well. But appreciate you guys. We'll see you in the next one, and hope you guys have